They told you to be more aware, to observe, reflect, grow. But what if I told you that same awareness is slowly draining your peace? That the constant analyzing, the emotional tracking, the mental overthinking isn't clarity, it's quiet chaos. You're not healing, you're performing it, and it's killing your calm. You ever hear people say things like, be more present or be more aware? Like that's the big secret to peace, personal growth, or becoming the best version of yourself. And hey, there's truth in that. Awareness helps. It's powerful, but there's also a line, a point where awareness stops helping and starts hurting. It sneaks up on you. One day, being present feels peaceful, grounding. The next, it feels heavy, exhausting. You start noticing every tiny thing, the way someone shifts their tone, the way someone hesitates before answering, the weird silence in a conversation that makes you wonder, did I do something wrong? And suddenly, your brain is doing full-time detective work. Not because you want it to, but because it doesn't know how to stop. And that's not peace, that's pressure. You feel tired, but not in a, I've been working all day way. It's more like your mind's been running non-stop in the background, scanning everything. Every mood, every pause, every vibe, and nobody really talks about that. How too much awareness can make you tense instead of calm. It's like your nervous system never gets a break. At first, awareness feels like clarity. You're mindful. You respond, not react. You observe your thoughts. You catch emotional patterns. You try to grow, but slowly, without realizing it, you move from observing to overanalyzing. You stop just noticing your own thoughts and start decoding every single thing around you. Why did she use that tone? Why did he take a second too long to reply? Why did I suddenly feel weird energy when I walked into that room? And then you're not living in the moment, you're decoding it. You're not feeling peace, you're managing it. It's like your brain has 30 tabs open all the time, constantly trying to figure everything out. And even though you're not physically doing much, you're completely drained by the end of the day. That's what no one tells you. Being mentally on all the time is exhausting. And here's the thing, you got good at this. You learned to read people, spot patterns, sense shifts. That probably helped you at some point. Maybe it kept you safe. Maybe it helped you avoid getting hurt. But now it's become who you are. You've tied your value to this skill, this hyper-awareness. You've convinced yourself that it's your strength, your way of staying ahead, your way of avoiding pain. And yeah, maybe it did help you survive something hard, but now it's holding you back. Because once awareness becomes your identity, everything feels personal. Every weird vibe feels like your responsibility. Every silence feels like a warning. Every shift in someone's energy feels like something you need to figure out. You're not just tired, you're emotionally and spiritually worn out, and you're still performing awareness like it's your job. Always alert, always reading between the lines, always trying to stay ahead. But you're not living anymore. You're observing your life like you're outside of it. And that's the trap of personal growth when it goes too far. Even your peace becomes something you think you have to earn. Like you're only allowed to feel calm if you're constantly watching, constantly analyzing, constantly on. But what if you don't have to? What if being calm doesn't have to be hard work? We rarely talk about this. Awareness is not the goal. It's just a tool. Somewhere along the way, we started treating it like it's the ultimate goal. Like the more aware you are, the more healed you are. But that's not true. Awareness is neutral. It's like a flashlight. It shows you what's there, what hurts, what feels off, what needs attention. But shining that flashlight 24/7 doesn't bring peace. It just keeps you on high alert. You never get to relax. You never get to trust the moment. And if you've been walking this path of healing and growth, you've probably felt it. That silent burnout, that quiet tension from always watching yourself, watching others, tracking everything all the time. Not because you're dramatic or overthinking, but because your brain forgot how to turn it off. You've gotten so good at reading people, reading moments, reading rooms, that you can't unsee things anymore. And now it's not just your tool, it's your burden. What's even heavier is how this awareness becomes your default setting. You walk into a room and it's not just a room, it's data. You're picking up on tones, micro expressions, subtle shifts that most people don't even notice. You can't explain it. You just know something feels off. You're not pulling away from people because you don't care. You're pulling away because it's too much. Your nervous system is overloaded. You care so deeply, but you're drowning in what you notice. And the hardest part? No one sees it. To them, you look calm, maybe even distant, but inside, you're spinning. You're managing layers of emotional input, and it's exhausting. You start zoning out in conversations, not because you're bored, but because your brain is doing too much in the background, trying to stay regulated, trying to stay safe. Even rest starts to feel like work. You lie down to relax and your brain goes, "Am I doing this right? Should I be meditating? Am I wasting time?" Even peace becomes a performance. That's something a lot of hyper-aware people don't say out loud. How awareness creeps into your rest. How you start judging your own calm, wondering if you're peaceful enough, wondering if you're healing the right way. You second-guess your own softness. You think rest has to be earned, that if you're not centered 24/7, something's wrong with you. But you're not a machine. You're a human. You're not meant to constantly self-correct. You're not here to fix yourself every time you feel something uncomfortable. Yes, you're evolving. Yes, you're growing. But your awareness isn't meant to control you. It's supposed to support you. Somewhere along the way, awareness turned into control. You started using it to monitor every trigger, every reaction, every emotion. You thought that if you could just stay aware enough, you'd avoid pain, you'd stay safe, and maybe that helped you survive back then. Maybe it worked. But now, it's keeping you from peace. Because when you're always scanning for danger, even in peaceful moments, you can't fully relax. When you're always trying to see what's coming next, you can't enjoy what's happening now. You end up convincing yourself that you're just being prepared, but really, you're just stuck in tension. You walk around with your shoulders slightly raised, your mind half alert even in the middle of joy. You think you're grounded, but you're not sinking into the moment. You're hovering over it, watching it, trying to protect yourself just in case. You want to love fully, but you're too busy checking if the love is real. You want to relax, but part of you is still in surveillance mode. You want to be present, but your awareness keeps you from truly being there. And I want to say this clearly, it's not your fault. You built this system because you had to, because you needed protection at some point, because it helped you survive. But now, you're allowed to outgrow it. You're allowed to feel safe without scanning the room. You're allowed to feel joy without needing proof. You're allowed to walk into a space and just be, without tracking everyone's energy. You're not here to manage every emotion, every situation, every silence. You're here to live, to feel, to be human. And the truth is, growth can become a performance too. Not because you're faking it, but because you've been conditioned to always stay on top of your healing. You don't cry without analyzing why. You don't get mad without wondering what it means. You don't feel joy without checking if you're appreciating it enough. It's like your brain is narrating everything all the time. You're running emotional diagnostics non-stop, and maybe it started with good intentions. You wanted to heal. You wanted to grow. You didn't want to repeat the same mistakes. But now you're stuck in constant reflection, constant monitoring, constant pressure to get it right. You wake up tired, not from lack of sleep, but from carrying your emotional weight all day, every day. You're not falling apart. You're just tired of managing everything all the time. And I need you to hear this. You don't need more awareness. You need more space. Space to feel without dissecting. Space to breathe without checking if you're doing it right. Space to connect with people without analyzing their tone. Space to rest without guilt. You don't need to earn your peace. You don't need to explain your sensitivity. You don't need to be perfect in your healing. You've done the work. You've learned how to notice. Now you get to live. If this resonates with you, if it feels like I've been describing what's been going on in your head or your heart, then it's probably time to give yourself more room. Room to just be. Room to exist without always analyzing. Room to feel without performing. Room to rest without making it another task to get right. So if you're watching this and it feels like I just put words to something you've been feeling, comment the word room down below, because that's what this is really about. Making space for your mind, your heart, your soul to breathe again. And if this helped you, if it gave you something to think about, come back to it whenever you need a reminder that you're allowed to stop watching yourself and start living again. Until next time, take care of you. Not just the aware version of you, but the real, soft, tired, breathing, human version of you.